Hey, welcome to the Explainer. You know, home is supposed to be our super fun, super safe space, right? But to keep it that way, there are a few, let's call them secret rules we all need to know. So today, we're going to break down a really simple guide to make your home the safest playground ever.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to take a quick tour of the house, starting with some general playtime rules. Then we'll get to know that electric monster that hides in the walls. After that, we'll head into the kitchen to see why it's not a playroom and figure out a super important plan for any strange smells. And we'll wrap it all up with a simple checklist you can start using right away.
Okay, first up, safe play starts here. You know, playtime is obviously the best part of being home, but even the most awesome games need a couple of simple rules, just to make sure we avoid any of those little oops moments.
So what's the number one, the most important rule of playtime? It's super simple. No climbing high. I know. Furniture can look like this awesome mountain just begging to be climbed, but that can lead to a nasty fall. Really, the safest and honestly the best adventures happen much closer to the floor.
And you know what's cool? Sometimes it's the really small things that make the biggest difference. Think about it. Putting soft guards on sharp table corners? Easy. Taking the ball games outside where you've got tons of room to run? Makes total sense. And probably the most important one, just always remember to ask a grown-up if you need a hand with something. All right, let's move on. We're going to tackle something that's a little more hidden. We're talking about those little outlets you see in the walls. They can seem kind of mysterious, maybe a little scary, but the source material we're looking at has this really clever way to explain the danger.
So here's the question, right? How do you explain that outlets are dangerous to a really little kid without totally freaking them out? Well, the source gives us this brilliant idea. You basically turn the danger into a character they can actually understand.
And here it is. This is just such a smart way to put it. By framing the outlet as an electric monster that bites, the warning suddenly becomes this memorable little story. It's a concept that's going to stick with a kid way better than just hearing "don't touch" over and over again.
And look how simple the logic becomes. When an outlet is uncovered, well, the monster can get out and bite. But if you use a simple safety cover, you trap it inside. Just like that, the danger is contained. It can't get out.
So that's really the key takeaway here. Using those little plastic safety covers is the super simple trick to keeping everyone safe from that monster. They're kind of like a shield, right? They keep the monster in its little home, and they keep your fingers safe.
Okay, next up, let's head into what's usually the heart of the home, the kitchen. I mean, it smells amazing in there, and it's full of all this fascinating stuff, but the kitchen has its own very special set of rules.
And this really is the main idea for kitchen safety. Yeah, it's a fun place to hang out with family for sure, but it's really a workplace for grown-ups. And all the things in there, the knives, the pots, and especially the stove, they're tools. They are not toys. The gas stove in particular gets its own special warning. Those clicking knobs might look and sound really fun to play with, but turning them can let out dangerous gas. And the scary thing is, you can't see it, but it's really harmful, which actually leads us right into our next super critical safety plan.
Okay, this brings us to a really important safety plan. What are you supposed to do if you ever smell something, well, something strange and stinky in the house? Let's walk through the emergency steps one by one.
Right. So you smell something strange. The first and honestly most important rule is to trust your nose. If you smell something you don't recognize, maybe it's kind of stinky or just smells wrong, it could be a gas leak. This is the time to act fast, but definitely not to panic.
So here's the exact four-step plan. Number one, and this is the most important, tell a grown-up right away. Don't wait. Number two, you got to open the windows to let that bad smell out and let fresh air in. That's called ventilating the house. Number three, everybody needs to get out of the house immediately. And number four, once you're all safely outside, that's the time to call for help.
And here is an absolutely crucial point that could literally save lives. Do not touch any light switches or anything that uses electricity. Don't turn them on and don't turn them off. Why? Because that could create a tiny little spark, and a spark is extremely dangerous when there's a gas leak.
Whew. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From playtime rules to the kitchen and even a full-on emergency plan. So let's put it all together into one simple checklist that makes all these rules super easy to remember.
All right, let's do a quick recap. What are the key rules for a safe and happy home? Well, keep your adventures on the floor, not climbing on the furniture. Keep that electric monster trapped inside the outlets with safety covers. Remember, the kitchen is a work area for grown-ups, not a playground. And always, always trust your nose and tell an adult if something smells weird. This is the perfect checklist to start your own family safety talk.
And that leaves us with one last really important thought. You know, talking about safety, it isn't about making kids scared. It's actually the opposite. It's about building their confidence. When we make these conversations just a normal, positive part of our routine, we're empowering our kids to be smart, to be prepared, and to feel in control. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.